You're now tuned into Real As It Get Podcast.
Keeping it real.
Be real, be true, and be yourself. They say the truth will set you free. You have to be real with yourself before you can be real with anyone else. Remember that.
Real As It Get Podcast, episode number 6. I go by the name Jay Neely. Got
your boy Chuck C.
Hey, we got a special guest with us today, the head football coach of Santaluces High School, Coach Hector Clavijo. What's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas? Appreciate y'all having me on.
Appreciate it.
Man, appreciate you being on, man. This is another big interview for us, man, that we wanted to have on. Kind of like I say every interview, man. I love having football guys on. You know what I'm saying? Talking real football talk. Keeps me close without having to be on the field.
So we gonna start the interview off. Introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us about your background a little bit.
So obviously, I was born and raised in Miami. Kind of moved around. I was born in Hialeah, somewhere around middle school time. Right before middle school, moved down south, down to Cutler Ridge. So I ended up going. My first high school was I went to Gulliver Prep my freshman year. Then I transferred over to Miami Southridge.
Mm-hmm. So
I played there my sophomore, junior year. And then my parents moved back up to Hialeah, so then I ended up finishing my senior year at Hialeah High. It was a real fun experience. I had some good times in high school. Was able to play for some really good coaches at all three places, people that I still have, great contact with. And then after high school, I went over to the College of Worcester in Ohio. Played ball there for 3 years, had a lot of great success. And then my senior season, my brother had just gotten to a school in Oklahoma. And then, I ended up making that move so our parents could kind of come watch both of us play rather than having to go to two different places. And then I made that move there, played with my brother my senior year, and had a lot of real good time there as well. And then after that, I came back down home. I started doing real estate, coaching a little football on the side just to kind of stay with it, kind of like you said, right? Kind of figuring out what to do now that you're no longer playing, trying to stay with the game.
Right.
And then one thing led to another. Got a phone call from Coach Dennis Mariquin. They were he had just taken a job at Champagnat. They had a tough season. Kind of went out there, tried to help him out on that last. They had like a three-way tiebreaker. Kind of try to help him out that one day, and then after that, he brought me and my brother in to coach with him that following year, and the rest is history. Obviously, 6 straight state championship appearances since then.
Pretty nice.
And then so we were able to kind of turn that whole thing around down there, and then now I'm here. My wife got a job up here in Palm Beach. She's a firefighter, and it's a great opportunity for her. So I said, hey, you know what? I'll just make that move and come do something new and build another program up. Why not? So that's where I'm at. That's why we're here.
So she got the firefighter job first, and then you came down.
She had the firefighter job last year. This time.
Okay.
So she tried to get me to move in the summer, but I said we just won back to back. So let me go get that 3-peat. So she agreed, and she said, all right, cool. But come December, it's either me or football. So you better pick. So we went ahead and we finally found a house and we made the move, and it was a super smooth transition. So now we living up here. We Palm Beach County residents now, and it's a little different deal up here, but it's great for the family.
Yeah. Right. That was one of my questions. One of my questions was gonna be, you just won championships. Why did you leave? But in that type of situation, we totally understand it, and why not try to build something new here? Right?
Yeah. Everybody kind of asks me that now. Why would you leave? Given that y'all had just so much success there, kind of have built that thing up. When I got there first with Dennis, we had like 15 dudes on the team. Mm-hmm. Then when Dennis stepped down, I think I was left with like 12 guys on the roster going into the after Dennis left after the second year, and then my next 4 years there was turning that place into a monster. We had 65 dudes on the roster this past year. At a 2A school with 170 kid enrollment, 6 through 12. Right. So over a third of the school basically was football players. So we it was a real fun task. I love that place. The administration was great, but obviously, you know, I had to do what was best for me and my family, you know, to make that move up here. And I picked the right spot, I think.
Right.
Yeah. You know, you know, shout out to Coach Merrick, you know what I'm saying, it's my dog. But, you know, after being with him to help build it up and then taking over and almost kind of had to build it up again. And then now you're in this school, you know, going on a build. How do you build a program? How do you set that culture, like, to you know, you guys set it over there big, like you win the state championships over there. You know, obviously the goal is to do that same here. So how do you, like, build that culture, you know, when you're building something from scratch almost?
I mean, the biggest thing, man, is you gotta, as a coach, you gotta have a philosophy, right? And you gotta have a belief. I'm sure most people's philosophies and beliefs are different. So I have mine, you know, and I just try to implement that on the kids every single day. You know, I'm no nonsense. You know, we work hard. We go through, you know, 2.5 hours, 3 hours in the summer, every, you know, 4 days a week, plus 7-on-7s, plus padded camps, plus whatever the case may be. So we gonna work. You know, so every single year, you know, we typically have the team that's in the best shape, and I like to have the team that's the most physical. You know, so we go hard, we compete every day in practice, and it's just kind of setting that standard. To me, it's a competition standard. I think I call it the LeBron effect, right, where everybody tries to kind of like just let's team up, right. And then just because we're all good, we're gonna win. Like it doesn't always work that way. Right. You know what I mean? So you kind of gotta grind, you know, you gotta compete, you gotta learn to win. And I tell my kids all the time, like, we wanna win the coin toss. You know what I mean? That's where it starts. You know, we wanna win the pregame. We wanna win, if I'm playing, you know, if I play my kids are 5 and 7, I don't let them win in basketball. You know what I mean? Like, I don't let them win in tic-tac-toe. I don't let them win in rock, paper, scissors. Like, you gotta have that mindset. Right. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I try to instill in them. And and we're starting to see it here. You know what I mean? The kids are starting to care more about football and compete. And, you know, we got a ton of talent here. It's just bringing the best out of them, you know, and really showing them that they could actually win. Right. I think the school's been down too long, and they're just not used to winning. But over the course of the last 6 months that I've been here, there's definitely been a buzz in the community and a buzz around the kids and the parents, and everyone's buying into that. And I think it's the sky's the limit here.
Okay, being new to the area, you know, how do you make Santaluces an attractive school for kids to come play football, being that, you know, you got John I down the street, Lake Worth, Boynton, you know,
Park Vista,
right? And being that, you know, since 2017, it looked like till now, you know, you guys are 19 and 25. 2019 was the best season. I believe they were 7-3.
Shout out to Coach Cole.
How do you make Santaluces football great again, at least to that 2019 season, you know, where Coach Cole, when he came in, he bought some guys in. You know, we see that you got some transfers in that could contribute right away. But how do you build the overall momentum for the team?
So, to be honest with you, when I got here, when I took this job, I didn't know, I couldn't tell you who the teams were in the district, right? Like, I could see it on match preps, but I couldn't tell you where they were located. Right. I didn't know who was the closest in proximity. I didn't know who was what. I couldn't tell you what Lantana even was, right? So for me, I was oblivious to all of that. When I took this job, I took it based on facilities, which obviously you know where I came from and what I had, which was nothing, right? So to now, to having a full stadium, this entire field house complex, multiple offices, a head coach's office, a locker room, coach's locker room, the whole nine, right? So there's a phenomenal facility. I got 6 practice fields. You can't beat what we got here. But also the support of the administration, right? So I thought with that team that I was able to assemble, from admin to myself to our coaching staff to the facilities, I think that's an attractive part right there in its own. I didn't really care for who was out anywhere else, because let's call a spade, right? When's the last time anybody won anything up here? Right? True. So I wasn't walking into, like, I wasn't taking a job at, you know, Miami Northwestern or something where you got to worry about, oh, well, Central just won, and Booker T just won a couple years ago, and you know, Carroll City just won not too long ago, and you know, Norland could always be good, and you got to worry about all these people, and then Champagnat's good, and then Champagnat going to take whoever they want, so you kind of got to deal with that right down the street from each other. Here it's like, well, okay, who is who, right? There ain't nobody. Atlantic was good a couple years ago, but that was really it, and then Dwyer was good, I don't know when that was, right?
So years ago.
Yeah. So really, we're talking about an open playing field. You know, Palm Beach is right for the taking. So I know Palm Beach Central has kind of been the king of the castle here for the last year or two, based on what I've been hearing, seeing, and whatnot. But that's really it. So to me, it was wide open. So I think that's what makes Santaluces intriguing, is that you got a lot of organic talent that's just walking the hallways here, that you just got to figure out a way to get them out.
Nice.
And then as far as our transfers go, all those kids live in the area. So to me, when I took this job, when I sat with the administration, I said, the kids that go here, that were supposed to go here, got to come back.
Right.
You know, it's not about going and getting kids from Palm Beach Gardens and going and getting kids from Wellington or from wherever. It's about going and getting kids that were supposed to be here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the kids live down them kids that transferred in walk to practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They live down the street. So to me, that's what it's about. It's about taking care of your community, and I think we got enough talent here that we could win with what's organically here. You know. And then we could take advantage of whatever programs or whatever else happens with, the incoming ninth grade, things of that sort. But right now, my main focus, and when I sat with the principal, I said, hey, let's get our kids back. Let's make sure there aren't kids that are supposed to be here going to other places. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of been where we're at right now.
That's important, man, because, I've been connected with a few head coaches in the county, and that is something that they're suffering from.
Right. Keeping their kids
good players. They're losing them.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're losing so many, and these kids go to other schools and make an immediate impact.
Yeah, Santaluces has always been it's in a good area for kids. And like you say, like a lot of kids who are zoned for Santaluces go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's always been a tough, thing for Santaluces. And, obviously they always had players and everything like that, but never like a solid team, because so many players are gone,
Yeah. And you can't do anything about the kids living in St. Thomas. You know what I mean? Or you can't do anything really about a kid going to like American Heritage. Mm-hmm. Like them places, I always tell people, them people gonna get who they gonna want to get. Right. You know what I mean? Like there's not much you can control. When I was at Champaignon, if I lost a kid to St. Thomas, or if I lost a kid to Heritage, or if I lost a kid to like a Gulliver Prep, what are you gonna tell them kids? You can't tell them kids anything. That's a Heritage and Gulliver Prep costs $40,000 a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a hell of an education. Like I understand that.
Right.
What can't happen here is we lose kids at Boyan, we lose kids at Somerset, we lose kids at John Ahn, we lose kids at Forest Hill. Like that's what can't happen in this community. You know what I mean? And that's where I think coming in, and it just starts with putting kids in school. That's where it's going to start at the end of the day. It's how many kids what's our signing day look like? Mm-hmm. If I can fill up a table with kids going to college, I think the parents in the community are going to feel comfortable with sending their kids to me to play for me. That way I know I'm going to take care of them going forward. Because at the end of the day, that's what they play football for, right? We're all just trying to go to school. We're trying to put these kids in school. And if we could win, that's going to be a plus.
Right.
So obviously that's what we did at Champaignon. That's what I want to do here, is not only put the kids in school, but win. And that's the goal.
So facilities, we see you stress facilities. After winning championships, they never built the stadium. We see that you guys played every away game as an opponent. I mean, I know you played every game as an away opponent. Mm-hmm. How did that affect you? How did that affect the team? Like, did they not have you guys back? Was it not something they planned to build for the future? Like, how is that? Just because, facilities, uniforms, these kids look forward to those things now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I understood. I had a great relationship with the administration.
Okay.
Like, if I call them right now, they're going to answer the phone. Like, it's a phenomenal. That's like, they're older than me, so I don't want to say, but it was like a brother-sister type relationship, right? Like, they did have our back when it came to football. But I knew there was a budget. You know what I mean? There was a certain amount of money that we can and can't spend. And so for example, we got brand new uniforms last year, right? We got brand new Battle uniforms, paid for them, and Battle hooked us up with a lot of extra stuff and whatnot. And that was when I first got there, we got Under Armour uniforms. And that was, and 2 or 3 years later, we get the Battle uniforms. So they were willing to spend money on that.
Right.
But I also saw it as a waste, right? And I'm not here to disrespect any team, but I wasn't going to sit here and host a playoff game. Right, and we're gonna host a playoff game against Glades Day. Okay, we're gonna play Glades Day. I'm gonna make Glades Day travel all the way to me. I don't have a stadium, so now I gotta go spend $2,000 on the stadium. I gotta go spend $3,000 on police. I gotta go spend another X amount on referees. I gotta go spend an X amount on an ambulance. I gotta spend X amount on people tickets and working the event. Right, I gotta go do all that. So now I'm in the hole. How much money? Right? When all I got to do is jump on the cheese bus and go ahead and play the Glaze Day, beat them 55-0, and get back on my bus and go home.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It was a lot easier to just do those things rather than go ahead and spend all that money. Mm-hmm. Now we could take all that money that we would save in the playoffs, and then when we got to state, we stayed in the best hotels.
Right.
See what I'm saying? We never stayed in no Motel 6 and nothing like that for state. We were always in a Hilton or a Marriott or something nice. Mm-hmm. We ate good. We had all that. Our rings, I still think we got the best rings for the last two times we won it. Yeah. We got the best rings in Dayton, Broward County. So to me, we spent the money where I felt was going to be important. See what I'm saying? Me playing a home game in the playoffs that I knew was probably 99% chance of winning. I'll take my chances to go play up there. Even if the referees are against us, we probably still gonna have a good chance.
So you guys never had any money, like you didn't make any money from games just because you played on the road all. So you had to pretty much rely on fundraising.
We wasn't gonna make any money playing at home.
Yeah, because you got.
We're gonna spend $5,000. How many people you got to put in the stands?
Right. Yeah, for real.
We had the Miami Dolphins.
That's tough.
You know what I mean? So we're a school with 170 kids. Only 60, 65 play football. So even if you had two parents of each of those kids, 120 kids, there's no community. Mm-hmm. We're not Miami Northwestern. We're not Miami Central. We don't have an entire community coming out to support us. We're in Hialeah. They play baseball in Hialeah. Right. They don't play football. Right. So there wasn't a backing that you were going to get. If we had 500 people at a game,
guaranteed.
Yeah, we would have that, but that's not like the norm, right? Mm-hmm. That was when we would play the big schools, when we played the West, when we played Chaminade, when we played those kind of schools, you would get those games. But that was rare. It didn't make sense to do that. And I was with them. I would be the one that would walk in and be like, hey, you good with going out of town this week? Yeah, come on. Hey, I'll call the coach. Hey, you want to host it? They're ecstatic. Hey, yeah, we gonna host. You know what I mean? Like they want to do it. I can have it. Go ahead, man.
That's crazy because I, with my youth organization, I was in a situation like that last year where you're in the red before you start just because we didn't have a home field. Mm-hmm. You got to pay X amount for refs. Look, man, we barely get parents to come to practice. We can't depend on them come game time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. So it was just in the best, our best situation to just say, hey, we'll just play every game on the road. Obviously, teams host games because they make money off them. Mm-hmm. So that was just something that we had to X out and pretty much try to re-strategize and say, hey, let's try to make the money another way.
Right. Yeah. No. Speaking of finances, we try to bring this up all the time to different coaches because I want the message to be out there for people who aren't familiar with like high school coaching or high school football. Like, how does fundraising work for you? Like, how do you get the money and like, what I'm saying? How do you do that to try to, like you said, you got to pay for refs, you got to pay for pay for the paint to paint the field. You got you got all that stuff you got to pay for, including police officers and all this other stuff. So how do you work fundraising for your for your team and how is it different fundraising for Champagnat as opposed to fundraising here? I know you haven't been here that long, but
right. So it's very similar. Unfortunately, me coming in here, I thought I was coming into a little bit better situation, but I wasn't. Last year, they spent a ton of money on things that probably weren't necessary. So they kind of put me in a hole. They also bought uniforms that weren't legal. So now we had to go out and get brand new uniforms. So we're gonna have brand new uniforms for this season. But after you count refurbishing helmets, spending $15,000 on uniforms, whatever it costs for paint, whatever it costs for, just a lot of miscellaneous type stuff. Mm-hmm. Footballs.
Right, football. Right?
Footballs, footballs are $100 a pop.
Yeah, everything went up.
So you're talking about having, you spending $1,500 on just footballs a year. So I think what we like to do is, I always kind of start off with like a crowdfunding deal, so like some sort of like snap raise or one of those teamworks type fundraisers, just to kind of get a quick influx of money, right? Mm-hmm. Boom, do it like for 2 weeks, and it kind of hits you, and then that's what kind of got it started. So that's how I was able to buy the footballs, and I was able to purchase a few things. Then what I like to do, I like to have like a quarterly T-shirt fundraiser. So we try to sell T-shirts, try to get them as cheap as possible. Shouts out to BSN. BSN hooked us up really good with some really good dry fit shirts sitting right there, and really good price. So we kind of were able to make a good amount of profit. We sold probably about, I want to say it was about 600 shirts. We sold about 600 shirts in a week.
Wow.
At the school.
Wow.
You know, it was a great support from the administration and the teachers in the school. So each kid was mandatory to sell 5 shirts. Okay, we got about 80 kids in this program now.
Nice.
Okay, so we were able to just really blow that up and sell them shirts. Then we had our spring game. We had about 400 people show up to our spring game. So we sold a ton of T-shirts at the game. We sold concessions. So that was kind of like our second fundraiser with that. And then our last fundraiser that we're doing this summer has been what's called a calendar fundraiser.
I've heard about it.
So we got a calendar with 31 days on the board, and each kid would sell a number of that calendar to a person. Mm-hmm. So I would say, man, what's your favorite number? Okay, 6. Okay, cool. Well, it's a $6 donation for that number, and then they would place your number on that, and then I would get those calendars back with all those names and whatnot, and each person would just sell each box. Super simple, right? It ain't rocket science.
Right.
And that calendar alone brought back $497. So per kid.
Dang.
So when you do that math, right, that fundraiser right there is what's going to set us up. We're in the middle of doing it right now. Half the team's already done it. So that fundraiser right there is what's going to set us off, and we should be done fundraising for the rest of the year. And that's going to cover whatever expenses of footballs, uniforms, helmets, whatever the case may be, shoulder pads, miscellaneous stuff. And then we would hope that with our success, our gate and our concessions will cover game day.
Right.
That should cover police, workers, and referees. And if we could keep that up, then we will never have to worry about all the extras here.
How do you get players to lock in on that? Like
on the fundraiser?
On the fundraiser.
It's simple, coach. You don't do it, you don't play. I mean, point blank period.
So and that's what I'm trying to get to. Like that's how I am. I got my youth organization, right? We present the same things to them. And it's just like these parents just BS's. Like we had the thing with scratch offs, and I'm literally like, okay, my program got 150 kids in it. Even if you don't complete the entire thing, I need you to at least bring back $50.
Right.
And we got it set up where you can do things around the field, and we'll shoot you a few dollars towards your fundraiser. But it's kind of like a lot of those kids. It is what it is, but they want to reap the benefits.
Right.
So you pretty much saying if your kids don't participate, you're
not gonna get a helmet August 1st.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So you gonna get out there and work.
It's simple, and obviously there's an exception to each rule, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm all about communication.
Right.
So if you're a parent, I've had parents reach out to me, Coach, I'm about halfway through. I say, listen, keep it. Take another week and try to give it to me whole. Right, or hey, coach, can I get you X amount by August 1st, and I'll get you the rest by during the season. If we could have that open line of communication, I'm good with that. Because at the end of the day, I could always say, hey, well, look, you told me you was gonna do this, right? What happened? See what I'm saying? So to me, it's about having that communication. And I got a great team mom right now. She works her tail off for us. I got a coach on staff that strictly deals with my paperwork. So all paperwork, accounting, things of that sort. I got a coach, a paid stipend coach that just deals with that. So that way, all of that stuff is streamlined to the parents in the group chats and all that good stuff. So that way I don't really got to be the one sitting here dealing with all that, right? I just basically get the reports, I get the money, we submit it, kick out the receipts or whatnot, and do all the corporational stuff that the school board requires, and we do things the right way like that. But absolutely, man, if you don't take care of it, it's not fair.
True.
It's not fair because at the end of the day, the ones that's going to end up hurting is that kid anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean? When that kid don't have uniform, like nobody pays for tape. Nobody pays for pre-wrap.
Nope.
Nobody pays for Gatorade. Nobody pays for any of that stuff. So, like, if your kid get hurt, what you want me to do? You know what I mean? Like, duct tape. You know what I mean? Like, what you want to do? So, if we want to take care of your kids and you want your kid to have the best chance to be successful, then we got to do our part as parents and fundraise.
Do your part. Communication is key.
Absolutely.
Like you spoke about coaching for sure.
What's your thoughts on that? We have a lot of guys going to Texas, a lot of guys going to Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm going to Georgia, bro.
Look, I'll be honest. I think Florida or even the county has an opportunity to compete with the money in different ways, right? And starting teacher salary is $47,500, I believe is where it is. Okay, at a head coaching stipend of $4,000 for a little bit. So let's just call it 51. Okay, $51,000 is what gets you a job to be a high school football coach in South Florida, or in Florida, period. Right. Where I think there should be an increase in that amount. It doesn't have to be even like $50,000 worth.
Right.
I think that increase should go, a $5,000 to $7,000 increase in that, which isn't crazy, right? It isn't crazy. If you add $1 to everybody's tax, home taxes, it'll be enough, right? And you're not killing nobody,
right?
So I think it could be done. So, but I think that there should be an addition from the county on their base stipend, and then it's going to come down to everything else. Nick Saban makes more money, right, than the head coach at UAB, right? They're down the street from each other.
Right.
They're in the same state, but Nick Saban's making a lot more money. Why? Because he makes more money, right? The school makes more money.
Right.
His program makes more money. Right. So I think the county and the state should allow those schools that make more money to make more money.
Right.
Right? So if I'm the coach at, I don't know, who do we want to say? Venice, right? If I'm the head coach at Venice, and I'm using Venice because I actually know the coach, Coach Peacock, and they sell out, right? They sell out. They got a whole beautiful stadium. They got a crowd behind them. And that guy is probably making what I just laid out, right? Let's not even talk about it. He's probably been coaching for 20 years, and
So
his salary is probably more. Let's just talk about base guy, right? Well, damn, if his budget for the year, right, his revenue, his total profit of the year is, let's just say $100,000, right? Why not allow him to make more money? Why not let him make X amount of dollars from that profit?
100%.
And also be able to kick back to your assistants. Right? So create a budget for your coaches. Right? So hey, we're gonna have a booster club that we're gonna be able to make $100,000. That $100,000 is divvied up by head coach and his assistants.
Right.
Or however way he wants it. To his trainer, to his field guy, to his maintenance guy. Let him hire somebody. Hey, I want to hire an extra coach, or I want to hire whatever, right? Let them be able to do whatever they want with that money. And now you're gonna get a coach that's gonna be driven on making the program better, right? Because I think you got too many coaches in not only the county but the state, right? The whole state. I don't know the county guys like that, so I don't want to talk about it. But I know in Dade I do for sure. Where the season ends, and they ain't going to the playoffs, so they done in first week of November. They're done. They hang up their coaching hat, and they won't see these kids again until May.
Yeah,
that's not football,
right?
Okay, that's not football. So those guys that are doing that, yeah, they deserve that $4,000 stipend, because that's all they working. You know what I mean? They're not doing nothing else.
Bare minimum.
The bare minimum, they just do it to say, hey, I'm a head coach, right? But when you got the guys that are working
year round,
365, okay, putting in 3 hours a day, just football with the kids, plus how many more hours does it take to do fundraising, to do inventory, to do, going out and meeting with the patrons around the county to raise money, to get pregame meals, to get stuff donated, to work on all those extra things.
Driving them to camps.
Oh, taking them to camp, taking them up from practice, doing X, Y, and Z. Plus, how about what it really takes, right? How many people are actually watching film? How many people are breaking down film? How many people are working to get these kids into school? You think you could just sit here and not do anything and the kids gonna get recruited? Yeah, maybe if you got the 6'5", 500-pound lineman that runs a 4.3, right? Everybody's gonna come recruit him, okay? But it don't work that way. It don't work that way. You gotta work, especially for those kids that are D2, D3. You gotta get them kids into school. You know what I mean? And that takes work. So where is the coach being compensated for doing all those things? Nobody ever sees that. You know what I mean? And I think that's where the compensation really comes. And let's be honest here, fellas. These coaches put in more. The ones that do it, right? The ones that do it right, they put in more time and more work than a lot of people in the county that get paid a lot more.
Right.
Facts.
100%.
You know, but they may not have that specialized degree, that master's degree, or been there X amount of time that have worked their way into a position of power, right? What are they doing for these kids? Because at the end of the day, this is education, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what are we doing to give these kids a better education? What are we doing for these kids to get them to a higher level of learning? What are we doing? A lot of these people ain't doing nothing. We're the ones doing it as coaches. You know, some are. You got great counselors. Mm-hmm. You got great APs. You get great people that really put their hands on these kids and guide them to where they got to be. You have some,
right?
But you got some that don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? So I think some of them coaches that do the right things, they should be compensated.
Reward them.
You know, reward them. Exactly.
100%. I mean, and that's a great, you know, idea that you laid out. But and I always feel like that. You know, coaches. You know, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure every county or whatever. But I know, you know, you can't take money from the football budget. You're not supposed to anyway. You know, but that should definitely be something. If you can make the money from the gate or from wherever, however you fundraise, whatever you want to do it, you should be able to allot money for yourself and to your staff. Right. I mean, because even quality coaches is hard on a $2,000 stipend or $3,000 stipend. You know what I mean? And the guys who are doing it, you know, they just love football. Some guys are trying to collect a check or whatever. But that's always been something that, you know, will better the county, better the coaches, better everybody. You know what I'm saying? If I'm getting paid more money, I want to put more time in. You know what I'm saying? I can, you know, do different things. I want to get on the phone and go, you know, call coaches or DM them and everything like that, because and it's not about money, but I feel better if I got more money in my pocket too. You know what I'm saying? Do that, you know. But
dude, let's be honest. We spend $100 a week on gas. I spend more. I drive a Yukon. Right. I spend more than $100 a week. Yeah. But if I was just going from my house or my job to practice and back, right? If you only consider that, you're spending $100 a week in gas. You know what I mean? You're talking about 15 weeks. That's $1,500. Right? We're just talking about gas.
Right.
Like, these stipends don't even cover the cost of being a coach. You know what I mean? Let's not even talk about, we're compensating you to help develop the youth. Mm-hmm. No, you're compensating my gas tank.
Right.
Like, you're helping Mobile and Shell and Marathon. Like, that's where that money is going to. Yeah. You might as well write the check out to them.
Sure. At least give me a stipend up front. You know what I'm saying? I'll take, you know what I mean? At least do something.
No, but and then it's split, right? So you get the split. Yep. You get some in the fall. You get some in the spring.
Yeah.
Imagine, man, you don't even see the money
at the end of both seasons. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of both seasons, in December they give you a stipend. No, give me it in August at least. You know, that's the least you can do.
So it's tough, man. It really makes it difficult to be successful. You know, I've heard really good things about the county AD here. I heard she does work and tries to make things better for the coaches and the players. So hopefully maybe we could pitch some ideas to her. She might come and maybe give us some feedback, and I think we just got to come together, man.
Right.
I know in Dade they always talked about that. Oh, the coach got to come together and we got to do a coalition and we got to do it. But you know how it goes in Dade, man. You get the wrong 5 people involved and it things just go elsewhere, you know. But if you are able to come everybody together and say, hey, we're gonna do this together and this is what we agree upon, maybe something can happen, and maybe we could be the trailblazers in it.
Right.
Maybe this county, given there's a little bit less schools, and it's a little bit different culture, maybe we could start something that could then trickle down to the rest of the counties and the rest of the state. You never know, but it will start at the top. Right. So maybe getting the county AD, Miss Valerie, involved, and maybe the superintendent or whoever and principals, if they got our back, then I think things could start changing.
They can definitely find a way. Hell, you see the refs went on strike. Whether they did,
pay them more money.
Y'all gonna get them more money.
Yeah.
Because without no refs, you can't play.
Yeah.
You know. So you know, my last question is, what's your thoughts on this whole NIL thing? You know,
high school or college?
High school players. You know what it is. The kid who just signed to Miami. It's like a $9 million deal.
See, I don't buy into the NIL. I think it's fairy dust money. All these websites coming out with, this kid's valuation is this kid's valuation is that. Well, show me.
Money grab.
Show me which kid making that money.
I seen the kid, and just to pause you right quick, I seen the kid who didn't really play last year, but he signed up on his website, and his evaluation is at like $6,000. How? He don't even have film like that. Is this just a money grab? Because you know, a lot of parents now, once they see that type of stuff, let me pay for my kid just for the looks of it.
Right.
But it's not valid.
Yeah, man. A lot of this stuff, they're evaluating you at what it can be. Right? That's called evaluation. But I want somebody to go out and show me, take a picture of all these checks that have been cashed for that kid, right? Because if we talk about it, the kid at Bama that Saban said, oh, this kid already signed, X amount of dollars and this, that, and the third. He never played. The kid that went to Ohio State that they said was going to get all this NIL money, transferred. He ain't even there no more. So to me, is all this NIL stuff. I mean, let's be honest. We on a podcast. It's gonna get on. I'm not gonna get into detail about what's happening, but to me, it's bogus, man. It's all bogus money. It's all, could the kid get paid? Could a kid be signing an X amount of deal for X amount of years? Could BSN sign a kid and say, hey, I'm gonna give you $100,000 over the course of 4 years? That's people forget. It's over the course of the time of you being there, right? They're not just fronting you all this money. Right. And then by rule, the kid has to do something in return to receive this money. So he's got to be a certain amount of Instagram posts, Twitter posts, appearances, X, Y, and Z. So if these things are actually going on, then okay, cool. But what do you see really going on? Like how many kids at this school? I'm sure y'all follow athletes, right? How many of them kids you see posting stuff? No. How many kids you see wearing stuff? How many? You don't see it. Right. So it's either money, booster money that's just being funneled in a different way and given to the schools or to the kids, right? To sign, or you don't want to call it an inducement to sign, fine, call it whatever you want to call it, NIL, all right. Or you'll have some that will receive real money. Like I think this year it'll kick off. So let's figure out who the best 5 players are, start with the quarterbacks, and let's see how much money they can make. And I think once you figure that out, I think that's when you'll know where it really is. Because, if you had Tim Tebow right now, would have been just jersey sales, right? Just TV appearances, just all those little, Johnny Manziel would have killed it in the NIL game. But
Reggie Bush.
Reggie Bush, Cam Newton's, like those guys of the world are going to kill the NIL game. If you were to tell me right now that guy made $1 million in NIL, I'd be like, yeah, I believe it. But you're not going to tell me the third-string quarterback freshman kid that just came off of high school, he run a scout team for your team. He's getting NIL money like that. Like people are out there just throwing money at him. Right. Come on, man. Like it don't work that way. That's bad business. Right. That's bad business. If I'm the business owner that's signing him and giving him NIL money, I got to be the worst business person on earth.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, why would I give a kid money I'm not receiving anything back for that?
Right.
No business in the world is giving people money without receiving something in return.
True. Look at De'Aaron King. This dude went in projected to go crazy his senior year. He gets 3 to 5 NIL deals, good money. Hell, he even had one with the Florida Panthers. Second, third game into the season, he's hurt.
Yeah. That's it.
Like, what could he do for that company? You can't represent them properly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they try to go off a brand. They try to go off the name. They try to, that valuation is, okay, where do we expect that kid to be?
Right.
So, like Brandon Ennis, right? I love Brandon Ennis. I think the kid's a phenomenal football player. Like, that kid there, could he be that guy? Could he be a guy that gets to, where's he going, Ohio State? Could he be a guy that goes to Ohio State and just kills it right away? I could see that. He's got a college body. He's got speed. He's got the ability. He could play probably 3 or 4 positions, right? Could he be a guy that gets there right away, a freshman All-American, and just dominates off rip? Yeah. Could I see companies buying into him and getting in early? 'Cause that's another thing too, right? You want to get in early on a kid,
right?
Because if you get him to sign a 4-year deal now, when he becomes that Tim Tebow, you can afford him then, right? So you want to try to get him now, sign him for that long run, and then now his senior year, now you making that money back. So that's kind of where I think that valuation comes from, is what do they expect? What could that kid project to be? And then kind of go from there. But I don't buy into it. You won't see none of my kids signing to no university because of NIL money. Like, no, man, it don't make sense. Like, go with a degree is worth something. You know what I mean? Like, that's like Malik. When Malik signed at Georgia Tech, that was a business decision.
Right.
Because to me, that kid was one. He's got great social media platform. He's social. He's energetic. He's a great person to be around. He's a high energy guy, just great character. So to me, I said, hey son, listen, you go to this school, you're gonna get a hell of a degree at Georgia Tech, right? Start with that. So that's gonna be a piece of paper that's worth money, more money than most places. Then 2, you're in the city of Atlanta, right? Being a young black person with a degree that has your kind of spunk and your kind of energy, right? In a place where, you know, let's be honest, right? Atlanta is a place where we're seeing black businesses grow and all that happening right there, where he could be able to take advantage. So right now, I've been trying to help him set up internships in the city of Atlanta, right, with the school, and get him going off the field. So when he graduates now, he don't have to come back to Miami. He don't got to go back to Liberty City. See what I'm saying? He could stay in Atlanta and work his way into a big global company like Coca-Cola or Chick-fil-A or one of these type of places, right? And now make something of himself. So that's where I sit down and I try to help my kids go to school. That's what we look for. You know what I mean? We look for the total package. What if football doesn't work out? Right. And let's be honest, Malik is 5'7", 5'8". You know what I mean? Like, is he a projected first round pick? No. You know what I mean? Could he be an NFL football player? 100%. The kid's a freak. He's one of the best football players I've ever seen. But let's call it where it is. NFL is a big man game, right. You know? So I want to set these kids up for the rest of their lives. So that's why, if you notice, you know, where do my kids go? Jesus Machado's at Tulane, right? One of the best schools in the nation. Malik's at Georgia Tech. Sent 3 kids to the University of Miami. You know what I mean? Private schools that got a good, you know, got a great education, got a great degree, you know, and I think that is what is important, you know, when it comes to the recruiting process, that people forget. Don't chase that logo, right? Because that logo can have you sit on the bench, okay? Can have you sit on the bench and whatnot. So that's what's important to me.
Got you. Hey, Real As It Get podcast, episode number 6. You know, we're here with Santaluces head football coach Hector Clavijo. Hey, so once again, tell them where they can find you online on social media.
It's at IREPCoaches, IREPCOACHES.
Chuck C, where can they find you?
Man, at Chuck C is me, CHUCKIZME.
All right, so hey, before we go, Coach, we have this segment. Pretty much one has to go. I'm gonna give you some options, and one has to go. The 2001 Miami Hurricanes or the 2005 Texas Longhorns?
One has to go?
One gotta go.
Oh, the Longhorns gotta go. That UM team is the best team ever.
The 2018 Clemson Tigers or the 2004 USC Trojans?
That's Reggie Bush's team, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm taking Reggie Bush's team. They gotta stay. Clemson to go.
All right, so we're gonna move on to movies. Gridiron Gang or Remember the Titans?
For me, Remember the Titans to go. I like Gridiron Gang.
Barry Sanders or Walter Payton?
I'm gonna be biased, only because it's more of my, like, y'all really getting to my age here. I'm not that old. I'll say I'll take Walter Payton could go. I'll take Barry Sanders.
All right. So when it comes to the football, Friday night likes atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Florida football or Texas football?
Texas football could go. We're gonna keep Florida football.
Got you. Hey man, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes, it has.
Thank you for joining us,
yes, sir.
And like we say, you know, our podcast is open. You know, it's bigger than football. You know, we just want to talk about everything. You know, everything
Absolutely.
What's going on within the community. Any way that we can help. You know, we're here for you. Also, I got to plug my print shop in too. You said BSN gave you the best deals. I got
a great deal. Yeah.
I got a print shop in Boynton. We definitely can talk about that.
Let's talk.
I can give you a sweeter deal.
Let's talk. All
but
right.
yeah, follow us on social media. Real As It Get podcast. We signing out. Thank you, Coach, for having us.
No, thank you guys.
All right.